tearing out pieces of me to replace the broken pieces of you. Tearing out.
Healthy family, and welcome to today's Mindset Monday. Thank you for coming and sharing some time with me. Welcome new subscribers. We are still growing. Thank you to the UPS for promising to have my camera here by a certain time, and you're still not here, but that's okay because we know how to improvise, right? So we're on the big screen, we're on the computer today, but no big deal with that. So today we are going to talk about how to live a guilt-free life. Now, again, I can only talk from my own perspective, and I'm going to let you all in on my world, right? Some things that I've gone through that have helped shape the person that I am today. Why I can live a guilt-free life without any reservation, without any issues. So, sometimes you do something and you instantly feel regret, or you don't do something and you instantly feel regret, or you do something and you instantly feel regret. Usually, regret comes with feeling that you didn't do all you could do. And that's very closely tied to having a guilty feeling, right? Sometimes you can feel guilty for surviving, or guilty for doing better, or guilty for not doing better, or guilty for other people's actions that you try to assist along the way. And that's not very conducive to your growth. It's also not very conducive to your mentality, okay? So in my years of living, I have lost contact with my siblings, partially from my own doing, partially from their own doing and their own will, right? Because early in my life, I was young, I did stupid stuff. I know I did stupid stuff. It hurt some of my family. We reconciled from there. But as I continue to grow and learn myself, some of them couldn't quite understand what I was doing, how I was doing it, and why I was doing it. And me being the person who I am, I was like, well, it's my life, so whatever. I'm not asking to live with y'all. I'm not asking for y'all to help me with any of my bills. That may have happened in the past, but I've grown from there. And I no longer am afraid of what you think of me. So thereby, I can live my life and make my mistakes now without having any guilt. There's times where I try to do things for my children, right? For the children that I gave birth to and the children that I raised. I try to do things for them, and they may shun it, they may not accept it, and it can rack me, it can rattle me, it can make me feel like, what else could I be doing? What am I doing wrong? What did I do wrong? And it took me some time. Last year, 2020, taught me a lot. It really helped me to strengthen my core, my belief in myself, and my knowing that what I do to the best of my ability. It really, really helped me. So thank you, 2020. All right. But, there was times where I was just like, man, what is it that I'm doing? What is it that I didn't do? Why is it my fault? And I had to realize, wait, the only person that I know genuinely can get it, hear me, and feel me is me. And it took time for me to even realize that about myself, that I knew myself, that I could trust myself, that I could realize things about myself, that I could find my triggers. There was times where I didn't even know myself. So I cannot hold myself responsible or accountable, feel regret or guilt for anyone else. Not my children, who, even though they are a part of me, guess what? I'm not their only parent. They have their own other side of genetic makeup, right? They also have their own spirit. They also have their own doings and beings. So it's a battle of who they are, what parts they have of me, and what parts they have of their other parent. So there's certain things I can see. I'm like, oh, yep, I used to do that, Oh, this child's lying. That's part of me. That's part of my trait. I used to be a really horrible liar. I think I've told y'all that before. I used to lie, and I used to be a horrible liar. Then I kind of got better at it, and I was like, okay, maybe I can keep lying, but then it was too much. And I decided to say, you know what, I need to stop. I need to quit before I get myself caught up for real, right? We're not trying to do that. You know, there would be certain things that they would do, and I was like, oh, that's the other parent, right? And then there were certain things that they would do, and I'm like, where the hell did this come from, right? Where did it come from? You know, as I grew, as I mentioned, my siblings didn't always quite get certain things. Some of them get me now, you know, and I'm in communication with them, and some of them still don't get me, which to me is no sweat off my back, because if any one of them called me today, I'm going to answer the phone and I'll be able to talk to them, because I know that the reasons why we may not be on the same page right now is because we're not on the same page mentally, intellectually. There's people that I've tried to help professionally, especially when I was a active, avid financial advisor, educator, instructor, crusader. When I used to be in finances and telling people, listen, things are happening, things are shifting, you want to start getting your money in order now. You know, 4 years ago, my husband made a video talking about forced vaccinations, start growing your food now. And I was saying, listen, this is how you get your money right. Start getting life insurance, making sure you're covered for chronic, critical, terminal illness, because it's biological warfare out here. They're spraying the air, they're poisoning the water, they're feeding you fake foods, it's causing people to break down, your body is reacting with different things. Protect yourself. And people were like, nah, pass, I'm good, I'm gonna buy these shoes. I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's for me and my family, I'm gonna make sure we're covered, my husband, myself, and all my children, we're gonna make sure that we're good. And now here we are, 2021, you know, some of them hit me in 2020, and was like, hey, what is it that you were saying again? And I'm like, no, I can't do that. We're no longer in a crusading, trying to save you and teach you mode. Okay, that's why there's no kitty gloves. There's no kitty gloves on this channel. See, you have to let a fool be a fool by themselves. And I refuse to be in the same boat as a fool. I've grown out of my foolish days. So if somebody tries to come to me with the, well, you said, and why aren't you? I'm like, no. I've done all that I can do. I tried to assist you before. And I did the best that I know that I could do at that time. Right now, I have to be concerned more with myself, with my other children that I am responsible for, with my pets, and with my husband's livelihood. I cannot take care of growing behind people who don't give a fuck. So if you didn't want to listen to me the first go round, and it takes the snake to bite you for you now to come to me and say, hey, what is it that you said I should do to avoid the snake bite? No, I'm sorry. You got to deal with that. And it may sound cold-blooded. However, the way how I cope with that and I let it go is because, as I said, I know I did everything that I possibly could do at the time. If you chose to still see me in this light as a person who may not know better, or you may know better, or the young girl who used to lie, or the young girl that used to play too much, if you still see me in that light, then there's nothing else that I can do for you. If you choose not to see me in this growth energy, the energy of a person who no longer has to rely on anyone but herself, if you refuse to see me in that light, then there is nothing on my behalf. That's on you. That's your perception. It's what you chose to do. So living guilt-free is quite literally a choice. And people may call it cold-hearted. People may call it cold-blooded. But I will not be in the same boat as a fool. I do not have that much energy to expend on that type of behavior anymore. And call it what you may, but it's survival of the fittest for a reason. You have to stay 2 steps ahead of the game. 3, 4, 5 steps if you're playing chess. What game are you playing? Guilt is a low-level energy field. And the only reason that you would feel it is if you feel you didn't do the most that you can. So if you always put your best foot forward, and you do the best that you can, and you put the word out there, you put the energy out there, you try and attempt, but bitches don't want to listen, then guess what? You got to let them go. You got to let them do what they got to do so you can continue on with your life. And when they come around you with the sob story, you got to know how to cut it short and know how to protect yourself and not allow those things to come and bombard you and load you down in certain ways. You will not come and disturb my peace because you're miserable, because you chose not to listen. 6 months ago, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it may be. You have to let those people that you cannot control, that you don't understand the makings of, you don't know what they're dealing with on the inside, you don't know what they're battling, you don't know. So you cannot try to take responsibility for that and then allow yourself to have havoc wreaked upon you for their foolishness. Because more than likely when they come to you crying again with the sob story and you try to expend that energy out of guilt, trying to make them feel better, guilt because you may feel responsible for them, guilt because you feel, okay, this grown behind person didn't quite hear me before, but these tears this time seems real and maybe they're gonna get it, and then they turn around and do the same thing a week later, the same foolishness a week later, and then you turn around looking crazy in the face. And now here you go with no one to turn to, just feeling guilty because you knew better but you didn't do better. Start applying the knowledge that you have within yourself. But in order for you to do that, you have to know yourself. Be comfortable with yourself. Be okay spending some time without electronics, without people, without distractions. Allow that. It's going to become more and more prevalent. Today, social media giant, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all down. I didn't realize it until I went on my Unite the 99 app. Well, actually, no. My husband asked me to look at something on his Instagram, and I was like, oh, it can't load. But I thought it was just an issue with his account. And then I was like, well, it can't refresh your feed, but whatever. I got a blog to put out. I got emails to answer. I got to hit the post office. I had so much stuff to do. I'm not really a social media person. But then I went on Unite the 99, and I saw Billy Carson talking about how these apps went down, but how his app wasn't affected. And I'm like, good. The flipping blasphemous beast is down. Who cares? It didn't affect me none. I'm unbothered. Today, my son came over and tried to provoke me. Guess what? Unbothered. Still went about my day. Went and got some clams and shrimp and felt good about it. Not one twinge of guilt. Because I know I've done my part. You see how that works? You got to let it lie. I went to the post office. Some miserable behind person tried to get at me. Try to get in my ear. And I'm like, you're miserable. Stay over there by yourself. And I got in the line and she kept talking at my back. Saying little stuff. And I'm like, who is she talking to, y'all? Who is she talking to? And it made her even more mad. And I felt zero guilt about that. I didn't care. Because I was unbothered. Because I know that that wasn't something I needed to interact with. That wasn't the fool I chose to be. So, wealthy family. And I went over. I'm looking at my timer for my Mindset Monday. But don't be nobody's fool. The fool can only be a fool with other fools. So what are you entertaining? Don't allow yourself to play in that arena. You're better than that. Okay? All right. Until we connect again, stay alert, stay aware, and live in love. Peace.